everyone, I am Teacher Charm, and today I am going to discuss to you the truth table of a proposition. How to construct a truth table? First, we have to consider how many rows are we going to make using the variables. So in getting the number of rows, we use this formula, 2 to the power of n, where 2 is constant and n is the number of variables. So I will show you the very basic truth table of a proposition P and its negation, or the opposite of a proposition. So the symbol for negation is this one, or denoted as not P. So since we only have one statement which is P, so the number of rows will be 2 to the power of 1 is equals to 2. So 2 rows, we have true, false. So since negation means the opposite of a proposition, so the negation of a statement which is true will be false. And then the negation of a statement that is false will be true. Now, let's proceed to the conjunction. A conjunction is a connective that uses AND. So the symbol for AND is this one. So in this table, we have two variables, P and Q. So the number of rows will be 2 to the power of 2 is equals to 4. So we have 4 rows. True, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. Or it can be interchanged for as long as it is balanced. It depends on you. Now, how are we going to get the value for P and Q? Remember the rule, if both propositions are true, then the entire statement will be true. Thus, if either of the proposition is false, then the entire statement will also be false. Now let's get the value. Statements P and Q are both true, so P and Q will be true. So for statements P, true, and Q, that is false, so it is false, since one of the statements is false. Now let's proceed to statement P that is false and statement Q is true, then that is also false. Then for both statements that are false, so P and Q will also be false. Let's move on to the disjunction. A disjunction is a connective that uses OR. The symbol for OR is this. Now what is the rule of a disjunction to get the value P or Q? Remember the rule, at least one of the statement is true for the entire statement to be true. Thus, a disjunction will only be false if both propositions are false. Now let's get the value. So statements P and Q are both true. So P or Q will be true. Then statements P is true while Q is false. That is also true. Then we have false and true. So at least one statement is true. That is also true. Then for the statements that are both false, then that is false. Let's have an example. Construct a truth table for negation P or Q. The easiest way to find the value for negation P or Q is to remember the rule. So we have two variables, P and Q. So the first thing to do is to find the value for negation P. Negation means the opposite of a proposition. So if our statement is true, its negation will be false. True, its negation will be false. But if our statement is false, its negation will be true. False, its negation will be true. Now, let's move on to the second column. So we have negation P or Q. So since we already have the two values for Q and negation P, so the values here will be based from these two columns. But remember, we are using OR. So the rule for a disjunction is at least one of the statement is true for the entire statement to be true. Thus, a disjunction will only be false if both propositions are false. Now let's have the value. We have Q, true, negation P, false. So we have at least one, true statement. So this is true. Now, Q is false, negation P is false, so both propositions are false, then it is false. We have Q true and negation P true, so it is true. So Q is false, the negation P is true, so we have at least one statement that is true again, then it is true. So thank you, and I hope you learned.